Hello there and welcome to the fourth part of my review of Wii Sports Resort. In this part I will be reviewing golf and bowling, which are of course the two sports games that have come from the original Wii Sports and have been given the whole new Wii Motion Plus treatment. So let's see if they're any different. Firstly, let's have a look at golf. So welcome to golf on Wii Sports Resort. You can play different courses on the island that Wii Sports Resort has, or you can play the classic courses from Wii Sports. Now the big difference here is of course the Motion Plus, and I would say the biggest thing I've noticed is particularly with the putting. Now with the putting on Wii Sports, you do tend to have to keep doing this quite a lot to make the Wii Remote respond to your shot, and then before you know it, you've overdone the shot and the ball's gone much further than you want. In Wii Sports Resort version of golf, it follows your move perfectly. And the trouble is, I've found, is that on Wii Sports, you get into a bit of a bad habit of doing that on the putting. You do keep trying to do this, and the ball goes, too far sometimes. On this, it's hard to get out of that habit because you've kind of remembered that you have to do that on Wii Sports. And as this feels quite similar, if you do that, obviously, it's so responsive that that's a terrible thing to do. If that hopefully makes any sense. Now I'm going to show you a bit of me playing golf here. The biggest difference on here, the controls are exactly the same, except for the fact that when you're in the stance you want to be in, you have to press B. So basically that is telling the remote that that is your default position of the Wii Remote facing downwards, so it can calibrate itself. So you press B, and then you can do some practice shots, like you could in Wii Sports. But look at that action, it's just following me absolutely. And then when you want to take a shot, you hold down A, and then you take the shot. And, obviously the ball moves, which is the whole point of golf really. Hooray! Seem to have a bit more of an audience on this as well. In Wii Sports, I think a couple of people would clap for you. On this, you seem to have quite a big audience following you around, although can't seem to find them. So this is your standard golf mode here. Oh, I did that without practicing the shot. That's why it's a terrible shot. Yeah, not very good. On here as well, the game does notify you a bit more of things that you should take note of. For instance, the wind on here, it makes a bleeping sound, so you're aware that you have to actually take that into account. I think on Wii Sports it's easy to miss that and just take your shot anyway. Golf on Wii Sports Resort just has the one mode, and like Wii Sports you have a selection of different courses, although on Wii Sports Resort you have more courses to choose from, which is really nice. And also you have the option of playing up to 4-player, taking it in turns here. The courses are really well thought out, the graphics are very nice, and it's a slightly more laid back sports game here on Wii Sports Resort. As I said, the controls on here work very, very well, much better than Wii Sports. So if you enjoyed golf on Wii Sports, you're going to love golf on Wii Sports Resort, because it's the same, but much, much better, particularly, like I say, with the putting. Quite often on Wii Sports, the Wii Remote on its own just wasn't responsive enough for the more subtle shots. And on Wii Sports Resort, they've really addressed that, and you can take all the same shots as you would on a normal golf course, with the added bonus that you're actually in your house and you can go to these courses in your own living room, and you don't have to pay a lot of money to get on the course and wear silly trousers. But you can still wear silly trousers if you want, that's optional. Hello, so here we have bowling, which was my favourite on Wii Sports, I must say. I absolutely love the bowling. And the added difference with this is, of course, it makes use of the Wii Motion Plus. It isn't a great deal different than bowling on Wii Sports, but it is as accurate as you're going to get, I think. What sometimes happened on Wii Sports is you take a shot like that, and the arm on the screen would sometimes jump to the top again and not be exactly where you've put your arm, but it was a pretty close approximation. This is exactly where you put your arm. It's fantastic. The other difference with this is the location of the bowling alley is obviously on the island of Wii Sports, and you get to wear a nice Hawaiian shirt or dress if you're female, or if you've decided to have a female to represent yourself, whatever you like. So that's quite a nice little touch here. And the other thing as well, I got a little bit fed up of Wii Sports always having the same voice. For example, it always just said, "Nice spare!" all the time whenever you'd perform a nice spare. On this there's some different variations. Same bloke doing the voice, but some different variations of what it says. Just makes, you know, it makes a bit of a difference, makes nice spare, not just sticking in your head all the time. It's perhaps just my own personal view there. It's quite nice to hear a few different speech things. So anyway, just to show you, look at this. Look, put your hand up there, and it follows it absolutely exactly. Ooh, try and trick it. It's brilliant. It knows exactly where you are. And obviously because of that, it also picks up on all your faults and every particular little movement. So it's as true to bowling as you can without the actual weight of the ball. It's the same, I'm pretty pleased with that, if I may say so. It's the same controls as Wii Sports Bowling. Everything is all the same. You hold down the B button on the back and then you release it to let the ball go. You can change where you're standing. Something you may notice on this as well, the position on Wii Sports, it would always position you right in the centre, which wasn't the best place to stand, in my opinion, unless you're perfect on a straight shot. It now positions you to the right or to the left, more if you're left or right-handed, which, to be honest, is where I'd always position myself on Wii Sports anyway. So I think they've worked that out. Everything else works the same. Press up to zoom in, down to up again to zoom back, and you can also change your left and right. And if you press A, if you press left and right, you can change your angle. So all those controls are exactly the same, with the added thing that you're in a Hawaiian shirt. And of course, Wii Motion Plus is working a beauty here. Now on Wii Sports you may be familiar that there were training modes for each specific sport, and my personal favourite on the training mode was where you kept knocking down more and more pins in the bowling game. Now I think what they've done at Nintendo, they've thought, well, that was obviously very popular. Don't know if it was just my own personal enjoyment of that game that made them think that, but they have made a full game of bowling with 100 pins, which is absolutely the most fun thing ever, to knock down that many pins with a bowling ball. So the controls and the rules are exactly the same, and up to 4 players can play on this, taking it in turns, but the big difference here is instead of knocking down just 10 pins, you're trying to knock down 100 pins, which is a lot of fun, seeing that many pins being knocked down. It's a lot of fun. And of course, again, the controls are the same as Wii Sports Bowling, but with the added bonus of the sensitivity and the accuracy of the Wii Motion Plus. Now the third mode of bowling on Wii Sports Resort is spin control, and up to 4 players can also play on this, taking it in turns. This is another game that's come from the training mode on Wii Sports, where you try and practice your spin with the bowling ball. So basically, it's bowling, but little obstacles are appearing, so you have to try and weave the ball around them by getting your spin correct, or trying to get to the pins from a different angle, that kind of thing. So another thing that they've taken from the training on Wii Sports from the bowling, but made it into a full game with up to 4 players competing. In conclusion, I think it's brilliant to see golf and bowling again in a reinvented way. I've seen some reviews of people moaning it's like, oh, it's a bit of a cop-out that they've just put the same sports on. But I think this really shows you exactly what the Wii Motion Plus can do. So if you really want a direct comparison between, you know, what it's like to use the Wii Motion Plus or what it's not like to use the Wii Motion Plus, try these two after playing the Wii Sports games, and you'll instantly be able to see the massive difference. In conclusion, on the original Wii Sports, Wii Golf and Wii Bowling were absolutely fantastic. They were probably the best ones on there. And it's funny actually to think about it now on Wii Sports Resort. These aren't the strongest sports on here by any means. They're still very, very good and very enjoyable, but there's so much range with the other sports that these ones are kind of the minor ones in a way. So it shows you how they've progressed from these being the best ones you could play on the Wii to now being good, but not as good as the others. So they're very good. They're very welcome to be there. I'm so pleased they've put them back on. It's a shame they didn't put full tennis on there and perhaps maybe reworked boxing. But hey, it's really good to see these again and to see what you can now do with the Wii Motion Plus. In my next review, I will be looking at the Wii Sports Resort games, power cruising and canoeing. Hopefully I won't get too wet. Subscribe to my Wii channel on YouTube if you want to be updated with my latest reviews. Farewell for now, thanks for listening and watching. Ciao.